All right, it is time to accelerate. It's time to accelerate. I've pulled up the post that I put up yesterday. I know this is a little bit on short notice. We actually planned on doing things slightly differently today, but this is going to work out terrific. We'll start with the Lord's Prayer. We'll go from there. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come. Thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory forever and ever. Amen. All right, we are accelerating, and we've got. I mean, boy, we've got some real fireworks for you today. We've got Liz Herrera is here as advertised. Liz, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here, Mike. How is everyone?
Awesome, awesome. Everyone's better now that you're here. We've got gentleman Jack Harvell. Jack, are you there?
Yes. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. How are we doing?
It's time to hashtag freak out. Jack, let's give Jack a hashtag freak out. He told me some stuff he's going to drop on this event, so you may want to bribe him with your hashtags in advance. Um, and then we've got Michael Bitler on as well. Hey, Michael.
Hi, Michael.
All
Great to
right,
be
this is
here.
it's going to be this is going to be so exciting. So we have literally a lot to cover today. We are still in March, April, May mastery. We're getting up. I guess this is the last weekend of March, so we really started things off right. And of course, a major topic of today is going to be Amazon. But of course, with OMG, March, April, May mastery, this is all about making OMG your home base and fully building a bridge back and forth between this wonderful new Amazon content that we have because of, especially because of Liz. And also, we really see Jack and Mike in there just swinging for the fences for you. Mandy Payne has been in here helping us out a lot. Last weekend, we were joined by Susan, and that was terrific. We might be able to get a peep out of her here or there, but it's been tremendous. There's actually a lot more resources to come. I think we may actually talk about one of them on this event, and even more to come from there. So it's going to be very very exciting. But we're building a bridge back and forth between our Amazon. Um, uh, Training, coaching, and community, and also the rest of OMG. Certainly, you can understand from the standpoint if you're in Amazon, you want to be able to take advantage of the wealth of riches when it comes to search engine optimization, and of course the wonderful community and everything that we have. But there's so much more. Once you have the skill of Amazon, then you're in a position to do what Brian Williams and Jack Harvell do in a lot of cases, which is either do client consulting or partner with product. Is something that Jack is really big into. And of course, if you have the skill of Larry's on. I might bring Larry live. I just sent a dispatch out about Larry. I mentioned him in the email dispatch I just sent out. Dr. Larry's in the house, so we might see if he has a microphone. But anyways, on the other side of things, if you're interested in your traditional OMG SEO and you're doing SEO client consulting or you're an affiliate, of course, once again, this is very very valuable information. Not just because it's a community and we're all coming together and we're accelerating. Of course, there's lots and lots to be gained from there. And what there's also there is if you're doing SEO client consulting, then an option that's now on the table for you is Amazon. Is doing SEO client consulting for Amazon people. We're actually going to find out about that today. Just to give you a little bit of a sneak peek, what Jack's going to show you is going to knock your socks off. And of course, affiliate marketing. I mean, what better way to do Amazon affiliate marketing than to really understand the ins and outs of how Amazon really works? And then that's really just going to give you a huge advantage if you do want to do affiliate marketing. So it's just really easier than ever inside of OMG to make money. And that's really saying something because it's based on our earnings reports, it's been pretty darn easy already. But I think that this is really taking things to a total next level, and it's going to be really, really exciting. I want to take care of a little bit of bookkeeping here, or a little bit of I don't know what I would call it, a little bit of background information before we get started. I'm curious. I have something I kind of want to sneak preview for you, but I don't know. I didn't really necessarily arrange my windows in particularly that smart a way. So I don't know if I'm actually going to be able to do this. Yeah, I wanted to kind of show you something. Cotton showed me his next acceleration webinar poster, but but I can't really get to it right now without kind of moving my windows around in a way that might be unpredictable. So you'll just have to trust me that Wednesday's assimilation webinar is going to be at 3 p.m. Eastern. Is going to be exciting. So you're going to want to jump on that. It's going to be very, very, very exciting. So that's all I'll say about that. I'll scan the audience later on and see if Cotton the Hammer Grammar is on or something like that. See if he wants to talk about it. But mark that down in your calendars. And so I wanted to talk about that. And if Liz or Michael, or if either of you guys spot Larry in the audience and you guys want to bring him live, I'd love to talk to him because I just sent out an email dispatch about him, and pretty exciting to talk about. Let me see if I can.
Yeah, he's good to go, Mike. He'll jump on here if you need him to. He's ready.
Man, that's cool. Let's do that then. Let me take a look and see what I've got to work with here, window wise, that I can open. Affiliate requests. I can probably open this up and be pretty safe. Let's see, Facebook, omgmachines.com/blog/dispatches. All right, so if I open up omgmachines.com/blog/dispatches, this is where I keep kind of my last several dispatches that I've done. And this is a great way to warm yourself up in the morning or in the afternoon if you need to pick me up to go through these, even if you've already read them. And this is the one from today. And I sent this out this morning. By the way, apologies to everybody. This webinar did not hit your latest news feed until literally the early hours of this morning. So I realized you may be watching this on a replay instead of being able to join us live. And we realize that, and we'll account for that. I actually woke up, bolted out of bed at 4 in the morning to write up this email dispatch for you because I realized that a lot of people would not even know about this webinar. There was a last second timing. Actually, everyone who's come on this webinar has literally agreed to come on at the last second. Jack did, Liz did, and Michael Bittler did, and even more last second, Susan and Larry. But this is a cool story right here that I wrote up in this email. This is Larry right here. Larry's a really good friend of mine. He's an awesome guy. He's good friends with Liz and Michael as well. Larry, are you on?
I'm on.
Man, what's this all about? Why do we have your good-looking mug on OMG blog here? What's going on with this?
I don't know. I'm just fortunate. Met the right people, right?
Yeah. So you're in Fort Lauderdale. You are a chiropractor by trade, and you've been inside of OMG for about 6 months, and you've been using OMG SEO. You actually, I believe, got some help from James Upjohn Funk It Up, and so what's the backstory behind this video here?
Okay, so basically, James is amazing. He basically showed me a whole bunch of good stuff to use, and I was using some other backlink stuff, and obviously it flew out the window. So I started getting involved in OMG. I just started going crazy ranking stuff. So my whole page is all chiropractic Jersey City and video and physical therapy Jersey City and 87 Google reviews, a couple different Google accounts, and I just basically started dominating that whole page. And I just love the whole SEO model. So obviously I got involved with somebody else that turned me on to Amazon, and from one thing to the next, I met up with Liz in the right places, and I'm helping a buddy launch a product now. It's going pretty well. I'm creating my own few products now, and as you know, I'm going to China with you guys, and it's going to be one hell of an experience, right?
It's gonna be a party. Well, this is really cool. Yeah, we're really gonna cover right. So we're really going to cover product getting in China, which is going to be exciting for people. What I think is really cool about this video, for anyone who's watching, Larry is literally extremely generous. He's not just, so many OMGers are grateful, which we love, but not just grateful, but extremely generous because he created this earnings report video for you in a very special way. And the way we did it, because look, Larry's making like upwards of 15 grand a month off of his listings. All right, that's just boom money that's flying into his pocket because it's filling in patients into his practice, and it's a lot of money for him. And that's of course from there you hear how he's leveraging some of that money to build his Amazon business, so on, which is really awesome. But what's really amazing for everyone in this event, and I would love for you to thank him because the way he created this video. It's literally a resource for you those of you who are interested in doing SEO client consulting, cotton grammar style, Joe Marfolio style, Fletch style, you kind of the way I do it with National SEO. This is a resource, a done for you resource. You can have it right on your smartphone and pull it up and show a potential client how much money they are missing out by not dominating the search engines, OMG style. Larry and I created this video. Larry especially created this video in such a way he actually shows on his phone what he's ranking for, what's going on with it. It's a short but powerful video. It's personal, and it's something that you can use. The whole foundation of Cotton Grammar, Velvet Ropes SEO, the foundation of it is helping clients understand how much money is slipping through their fingers by not having these Google rankings. And Larry shows in his own business how much money he would have been missing out on if he wasn't literally taking advantage of OMG SEO and really sucking the marrow out of the bone. I mean, really, taking it to the max. But by showing you that, it's a real powerful demonstration. Of course, it's great for your confidence, and of course, everyone's feeling great about it, and I'm sure very, very happy for you, Larry. But I want to thank you because you've created this. This can be a done for you resource that anybody can and should use, any OMGer can and should use to help land client deals, to help business owners understand how much money is slipping through their fingers. One of the things I mentioned in this email, with National SEO, we have a few different ServPro clients, but anyways, we have one particular ServPro client. And it took all of 40 minutes for Greg to do SEO for a few different cities in the Nashville area. And on December 16th, 2014, she called me up, and I'll tell you, Kathy, this is the client. She tracked me down, and she really went hard for me to do her SEO. And it was really the smallest SEO package we were doing, but I did it for her, and it really grew her business. I mean, that was the only outside advertising they were doing. It really grew her business in 2014. December 16th, 2014, she called me up. She was so excited because she had just sold her ServPro for $1 million. And that shows you the power of this SEO client consulting. So I wanted to bring that on. And since I saw Lawrence in the audience, I would love for everybody to thank Lawrence for doing that for us. I think it's really, really awesome. Let's see, where are you? Post on there. Oh, there you are. I swung it with a W. I would love for everybody to thank Lawrence because I think that's great, and also to congratulate him because that's awesome. And he's also going to China with us. So Larry, thank you so much, man. I really, really appreciate it.
Oh man, thank you, Mike. I mean, OMG, just the people I've met are nothing but top quality people.
Yeah. We have a saying. OMG is a city on a hill. It's a place where friends come together in Providence. Are you? So Larry, I know you're excited about Amazon. Are you? What do you think about these special guests we have? You've met all of them.
Oh, they're sick. I mean, I can't even tell you. Mike, Liz, I mean, Jack, I just met briefly, but I had Susan help me out. And not one person has not helped me out tremendously.
Yeah.
Tremendously. Yeah. And they're just, like I said, some of the finest people you ever want to meet, and cool and down to earth and real. And obviously, Mike, you too. I had a great time with you. And I mean, I'm pretty good friends with Brett Lewis, Carrie Duke, and just amazing people that I also met in OMG Live. That's totally an event to go to also.
Awesome. So basically, everybody else helped you, and then you partied with me. I'm just trying to translate for people. That's what Larry said. Those are Larry's words, not mine. Now you see what my value is. My value is good to go out for drinks with, but you can fortunately you have Liz and Jack and Michael Bittler and Susan to help you out here. So at least somebody with some non-partying talent is on this event. I'm glad to hear.
And Mandy's been totally hooking me up and staying in touch with me also. Also great
That's
people,
awesome.
right?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that Mandy couldn't necessarily be with us today, but but she's here in spirit, and she has been helping us out. And anybody, if you don't know about Mandy Payne, watch the last webinar that we just posted. It's in your March, April, May mastery area. It's going to be really, really valuable. And by the way, Larry, I hope you see like all these thank yous pouring in for you in the
awesome,
in the
man.
Facebook OMG Facebook group. All right, well let's get started here. Let's we're going to do two things here. So first of all, we want this March, April, May mastery event, and this is where the replays to the previous event are. I'm in the Project Breakthrough members area here. This is the last Webby that we did with Mandy Payne's right here, and then the one we did before that with that primarily centered on Jack, although we had some of these same special guests on, which was awesome. So that's all right here, and that's where the replay for this event will be. What I want to do is talk a little bit about some of the training we've added just this week, and I know that there's probably some people who've seen this event. Please post on Facebook. Give me the number 1 if you've already seen all or part of the new HydroFeet OTS series, the flat file videos, and then frustration-free packaging. If you've already seen all or part of those, give me the number 1, and give me the number 2 if you haven't, so I can just see on Facebook. Let me see give me an indicator here so I know. So number 1, if you've seen the new over-the-shoulder series, give me the number 2 if it's news to you. Number 1 if you've seen it, number 2 if it's news to you. I'll give everybody a few seconds for that to come in. And this is our second over-the-shoulder series. We're still developing the first. It's our second over-the-shoulder series. Look at this. Wow. So most people did not even know about it. Okay, well, great. Well, you're finding out about it. Now, that obviously means that it's going to be harder for us to field questions on it. There are some people, it looks like mostly people haven't seen it. So what we'll probably do is preview it a little bit with Liz and with Michael Bittler, who have put this together for us. I am so excited about this. Now, in our previous, we'll probably more preview it. If there are some questions about it, we can try to fill those as well. In our previous over-the-shoulder series, which is right here, it's Elite Serum. And what you see is we're working on an existing Amazon product, kind of a rehab project, okay? We've got right up here, we've got Chuck's $50,000 a month affiliate strategy, so we can learn from that. Then we've got the Elite Serum over-the-shoulder series. That's a little bit of a rehab project where we're taking a kind of a former successful project that's kind of fallen on harder times and looking to turn it around and bring it back to life. And so we're doing that. That's exciting. That's what this is about Elite Serum. It's also in a very competitive category, so there's a lot to learn from this stuff, and we've got more to come on that. Mandy and I just met with Tim Schmidt for almost 2 hours on Thursday, setting up our next moves, and we might get a tiny bit of a sneak preview on where that's going with Jack, because Jack's actually going to step up to the plate and help us move that forward, so that's going to be exciting. But what I wanted to do was first give folks a sneak preview on this HydroFeet over-the-shoulder series. And so this all began, this is actually probably about 100 feet away from where me and Larry shot that other video. And this is me and Mr. Michael Bittler. And Michael's been so generous, so generous with this series. Michael's extremely successful on Amazon. He had his first $1 million year last year, and he's setting to really top that this year. Michael is exposing an all-new product to us. And what's cool about this is it's a brand new product that we're like watching over his shoulder as it's even getting packaged and shipped to Amazon, and how that's all happening, how that's coming together. We're finding out about that in this over-the-shoulder series. And new techniques exposed, things that you haven't seen. Very, very exciting. And what's neat is this is actually drawing off of a current successful product line. So it's kind of like they have the new Walking Dead spin-off show coming out. So it's like a spin-off, right? It's, I think like the Valley of the Walking Dead, or the Revenge of the Walking Dead, or I don't know what it is, some new Walking Dead movie or a TV show. So this is kind of a spin-off. I'm not Michael, I'm not comparing your foot and soles to zombies. It actually makes you brings you to life and gives a spring in your step. But it's about HydroFeet for kids. And what Michael and Liz have done, and it's incredible, is they've created this extensive over-the-shoulder series we've got the first, I believe it's 11 videos, first 10 or 11 videos. I guess first 10 videos, no, 11, first 11 videos. And we actually already have several more videos in this series ready to go. And this is the first part of it. And then we've got the second part right here, the frustration-free packaging. So Michael and Liz, are you guys there?
I am.
Yep, I'm here too, Mike.
Great. So, Liz, can you kind of quarterback us and walk us through how this series, how you're envisioning it, and how it's originally rolling out, and then I'd love to have Michael talk about the power of frustration-free packaging and just avoiding all these frustrations with hijackers, really.
Sure, absolutely. One of the primary reasons why we decided to go and do this particular product is because of the fact that FFP packaging, which is also frustration-free packaging with Amazon, it's actually the only way to actually stop a hijacker from getting on your listing, other than you actually being a really big company or selling quite a bit of product through Amazon. I'm not sure if even Vendor Central is protected, but I assume in some way they might be. So it's really the only way for the little guy to sort of protect their product from having these hijackers, which a lot of times quite a bit of them happen to be in China, and they list 100 of your items or so, and it can become difficult to actually buy out their inventory, because usually that's the first thing that you should do. So by putting FFP on your product, it protects that product, and that's why we thought it was just a really great way to get people, show them how to do FFP, and there's no better person to teach them than Michael, which he's kind of like, in my opinion, the foremost expert on FFP, and he's helped me on my products and guided me through the way. Now I feel like I'm so much better at doing it. I don't have to ask him as many questions now as I used to, but there are things that he taught me that no one really knows about, and the reason for that is people still assume, there's a lot of people that assume that even an FFP product won't protect you, but that's because of the fact that they did it incorrectly. And like I said, Michael's become an expert on the topic, and he showed us in the videos so far, from what we've done, step by step, every single thing that he does in order to create that listing hijacker proof. Awesome.
Liz, when you first envisioned these over-the-shoulder series, because you come all the way back, from the very first days of OMG, and even back before that with Greg Morrison, and so you saw these over-the-shoulder series roll out, where you got to see every mouse click as Greg ranked website after website after website. What was that like for you, and how did that influence you to want to do? Because it was when we were in Vegas and you and me and Cotton were hanging out that you originally, kind of the idea came to you like a lightning bolt, like, hey, I'm going to do these over-the-shoulder series on Amazon.
Right. I think that when I first saw Greg do them, I was like, wow, this is so awesome. There was no other word other than just awesome. Just watching Greg do it step by step, even all the way to the part where he shared who his outsourcers were, and to the day he still uses that same guy. I think you know who I'm talking about. I'm not sure how to pronounce his name, but he still uses the same guy in his outsourcing, and he did everything step by step, and I thought that was just so amazing. I think the one thing that I did underestimate though, but is just the amount of content that was going to be involved. I don't really quite remember Greg's videos being as much content, because I guess to a certain degree he outsources it, but within Amazon you sort of the stuff that we're doing is all hands-on. Although Michael can outsource this actual particular, we talked about it in the video where he can just have somebody in charge of FFP and do all that. It's all step by step. So I think I sort of underestimated the amount of content that it was going to take. But we've been documenting that, and that's why there's going to just be a massive amount of videos, step by step, which is I think really cool, because you get to see exactly what you need to do in order to, in this case, make the listing hijacker proof. So it's actually really cool to see somebody actually doing it, just like Greg did all those years ago. It seems like it was way back, but I don't think it was actually even that long ago.
Yeah, it was September of 2012 was when we first pulled the pin on OMG, and people have been absolutely going berserk ever since. And one of the things I want to point out that Liz has done in true Greg Morrison one man gang style, is to show you the one man gang version of this. I mean, Liz, you do this. This is a true home based business for you, even though you're clearing these massive figures. I mean, over $1 million in December. This is a home business for you. It's just something that you're doing. I mean, like basically you hire a few family members to help you, but you're literally operating this business out of your home, out of your garage, and even your living room. That's where it's all happening.
Right, absolutely. My living room is not a living room anymore. It's actually like a warehouse. So we got living room, garage, everything's like just, we just had to do it. We felt like we didn't need to expand yet, but we're getting to the point where at some point this year we're definitely going to need to expand. But like you said, it's a family-run business. I hired all my family members pretty much, the ones that wanted to actually do this, including my brother. And my mom, my mom's the sourcing person that actually found that product that does $10,000 a month. And that's with no training other than just me telling her what to look for. So she's constantly looking for stuff. And her style of sourcing is way different than traditional, which is people typically look online, but what they don't realize is they should be constantly sourcing just in their everyday life. Just look around you and see what there is, or when you go to a store, things like that. So, yeah, we've literally turned it into like a family thing, and we now started to hire additional people. We've had to, and pretty soon we're going to have to expand because we really have no other choice if we want to grow this thing any bigger.
One of the things that David Mills pointed out to me is that if and we've got you and Michael and Jack, and I believe all three of you started very much, and we'll try to get Michael and Jack to chime in on this as well if they feel like it. But where if you begin as a one-man gang, if you begin lean and mean, knowing the correct steps to take, if you begin by knowing even how to successfully list a product that can sell for $2,000, like one of the things, that makes you like $2,000 a month or $5,000 a month. Once you get to that point, you are so much further ahead of the game than you would have been if you were sitting in a theoretical model, just throwing darts at the wall. At that point, you can get investor income, or not income, but you can get like a big investor to come in and give you money. At that point, you can partner with product like Jack does. At that point, you can scale the way that Liz and obviously Jack and Michael have scaled up. You can do Amazon client consulting the way that Brian Williams does. So it really opens things up. Can you talk to me about the difference, even though it's only a few, you're some number of mouse clicks and some number of keystrokes away from being able to list a successful listing on Amazon. But the difference, once you can get a listing that's making money, that puts you in such a different ball game. It's much more than $2,000 a month or $5,000 a month or even $10,000 a month. It's a confidence, it's a skill set that's going to allow you to scale so many different ways. Can you comment? I mean, I know that's a little bit of a leading question, Liz, but I think that's something that could really excite people.
Right. Once you know how to do one successful listing or create one successful listing, which our OTS series, along with I know Jack's going to do some stuff, and everything that Michael laid out. So it's as soon as you know how to do that, it's pretty like it seems in theory it seems like it's super easy to actually scale. Once you know how to do that. And I think that's the problem right there, is that a lot of people talk about scaling and getting prepared for scaling, but they don't actually show what it takes to scale. So I think that's like super important. But once you know how to do just that one product and kind of almost even emotionally detach yourself from that product in a way, because I think one of the major problems with a lot of people, and I'm not sure if I've shared this with everybody here, but my first two products were actually duds. And we kind of like, within my family, we still kind of like laugh and giggle about that, because we could have very easily just quit. Like we could have just said, oh, this sucks, it doesn't work, we quit. But we said, no, let's keep on doing it, let's try something else. And then it was with that third product that it just sort of like took off. And then the following one, which is the one that my mom found, that was the next one, and that one took off. So after we knew how to do one, it was like hey, this is easy, but we never were emotionally invested to those first two products. So the key is really knowing how to scale, knowing what steps to take, having some kind of guidance for being able to scale a business, for starters, especially an Amazon business. And secondly, make sure you emotionally detach yourself from your products, because if you don't, then you're not going to know when the right time to just give up on that product, because you might just get a dud and then start thinking like this system doesn't work.
I want to comment on both of those because
So
they're
hopefully
really, really
that made
powerful.
sense.
That makes a lot of sense, and I think that's extremely powerful. I want to drill down deeper into each of those ideas that you just shared. So one has to do with emotional detachment, and that's the second thing. And that obviously comes back to your poker days and so forth. I want to get to that second. The first thing you talked about is scaling, and scaling right. And let's talk about what you're scaling. And this is really the whole, like, one of the big pillars, one of the big secrets behind OMG is, what are you scaling? I mean, when you first got to see Liz, because this is so neat for you, because obviously now you're just a bona fide superstar. I mean, there's nobody in the world who I would want to get information. I really feel like the lineup that we have on this webinar, there's nowhere else I'd rather get information about Amazon than where we are today. So I'm literally excited about that. And Liz, that absolutely starts with you. And so, talking about what we're scaling, going all the way back to those days, watching Greg Morrison with those very first over the shoulder series, then what you were scaling, that is what Greg did. That's how Greg made his first $2 million, was making those first sites with like just Unique Article Wizard and SYA. And I mean, that's what he was doing. He was making those sites and either duplicating them and making a few bucks affiliate on each of them, or stamping them out and selling them like crazy to clients, like selling them like hotcakes. But the point was, he was scaling something that was scalable. It was something that was doable. It was duplicatable. It was valuable. It was all doable. And you could see right over his shoulder. Is what you're saying that this matches that same idea that if you can do this on a quote unquote small scale, then one way or the other, you can, the sky's the limit.
Right, absolutely. And it's just like, if you think back about for the people that didn't see the Greg Morrison videos, one of the ways that he did, like, you could, now looking back, it's very easy to see, like, how he scaled it. He had that one or two outsourcers that would do the SYA articles and the UAW articles that would spin them. So it's like almost having to know the exact steps to scale. So in Greg's case, he would outsource the article spinning. Originally, he did it on his own. If people do recall,
Yep,
Greg would actually manually spin all the articles, which is like
with my one article to rule them all training. By the way, let me just
right. He would spin every single video himself until he grew to the point where he said, hey, I need to scale this. So then he started to take that, and step by step he would scale. So that's when he hired FactPint, or whatever the guy's name at Gmail, which he still uses, a guy, or some of his other spinners and things like that. That's when he started to outsource it. That was like his first step to start scaling. And it's no different within Amazon. You have to know what are those steps. And people always talk about scaling, and you need to scale, and you need to scale well, but they don't actually show how do you scale. Like, I just had a conversation with a good friend of mine who's in one of the masterminds that I am in, and he is pretty successful, probably making about $100,000 a month, and he told me that he's so bombarded, he doesn't understand how like I'm able to do all this. And I'm talking to him and asking him, and he says he's got so much stuff to do all this, and he just doesn't understand how to scale. He has no idea. So this is a guy making $100,000 in sales a month, and he has no idea how to scale. And that's because nobody's ever laid it out and showed people, this is how you scale. How do you figure out what you need to scale and all that good stuff? They just talk about scaling. So once you kind of know how to do that, it just lights a bulb in your mind.
I'd like to add something in here real quick on what Liz is saying.
Yes,
I don't mean to interrupt you.
I would love to hear it.
From the very beginning, what people need to realize is that you're already using a very large conglomerate to scale for you. So out of the gate, you already have Amazon allowing you to scale to the moon. I don't, at this point, have any help whatsoever, and I'm already managing several multi-million dollar a year companies because of Amazon's scalability. You're tapping into traffic that they already have coming in. You're tapping into, if you're utilizing FBA, you're tapping into a system that you don't have to fulfill 1,000 orders a day if you're at that volume. So Amazon is already allowing you to scale to whatever level you want to. So out of the gate, when you first put a listing on Amazon, if you're utilizing fulfillment by Amazon, obviously, but you're sending it into them, and that allows you to focus on these other opportunities like more products or client consulting through Amazon.
You know, I literally love what you're saying, and one of the cool things about having both you and Liz on in this situation, Jack, you actually go back again to those original days of those early days of OMG with those original over the shoulder series with Greg, and of course we have current up to date over the shoulder series with Greg as well, which is very exciting. Um, and Greg again would like lay those out. Now you are now stepping to the plate. We're so excited about this. Like I said, Liz and Tim Schmidt and I sat down for almost a 2-hour meeting on Thursday in preparation for you to help us with an over-the-shoulder series on your unique homebrew method for using Amazon pay-per-clicks. And that's going to be over the shoulder. That's so helpful to people to have that traffic engine. And obviously, what you're doing goes a lot deeper than just that. When you think of these over the shoulder series, these Greg Morrison style over the shoulder series, and just having that firm foundation, that firm basis, that because then you're scaling something good. Can I kind of put the same question to you that I did to Liz about the importance of having that over the shoulder basis, so you know that you're scaling the right moves, so you have that right framework in place. And so we point out to you in these over the shoulder series, hey, here's a pitfall you need to avoid. Here's an obstacle you may need to overcome. Like Michael Bittler is blazing that way for us when it comes to frustration-free packaging. For example, that's an obstacle, or sorry, a pitfall that you could run into that Michael is blazing the way for us. You're helping us take the blinders off when it comes to product getting, and a lot of things when it comes. So, is it possible for you? Because again, we're kind of trying to fully build a bridge for people. There's nobody better to build this bridge because you're somebody who's been on both sides of the bridge in OMG. You've been on the pure SEO side, the client consulting side, and so forth. And obviously, at this point, you're a world master when it comes to Amazon. And what we're doing right now to help build that bridge are these over the shoulder series to have that firm foundation so somebody can get their first listing out of the gate, or maybe it'll be their third listing, but whatever, a listing out of the gate onto Amazon successfully where it's generating a profit. What's the role of those, when you take yourself back all the way to 2012 and you're watching Greg do those over the shoulder series, and you're establishing your SEO foundation, and then ultimately that's become an Amazon foundation. Can you talk to me about scalability from your eyes?
Yeah, I can talk to you about how the over-the-shoulder series, they create a very clear path, and they show you where the obstacles were when they were developing that path. Like Greg, when he was going through it, say, hey, avoid this and avoid this. Those were barriers that he ran into while he was blazing that path. And he basically said, this is how you need to do it. Now, this is something that can be outsourced, but he was telling you how it needs to be done. So that gives clear direction not only for yourself if you're going to do it yourself, and I highly recommend these types of things. Like obviously on Amazon, there are high-level tasks that need to be done by you initially. So you clearly understand them. You clearly understand how to create a listing. So you can clearly relate that to an outsourcer that you might have do in the future. So you can give them the expectations that you have so the work is done in the manner in which you would do it. So in my case, I look at this as having a bunch of little Jack Harvells running off and create listings because I know the exact steps that need to be taken, and that those over-the-shoulder series allow me to see the areas of my business that I can scale. Now, I don't opt for that right now just because I love doing this. I love it boggles my mind that I myself can manage by myself $1 million a year company. It boggles my mind. I mean, I say by myself. I have the help of Amazon, obviously, because the traffic is there, the scalability is there from a standpoint of it doesn't take me any more time, and this is very important. It doesn't take me any more time to sell 1,000 units a day than it does for me to sell one. It doesn't take me any more time to do that. That is extremely powerful.
That is powerful. I mean, and that is where we're coming at when it comes to scale. So what I'd like folks to do, if you kind of get where if you're picking up what Liz and Jack are putting down, and also as kind of a shout out to Greg Morrison, give me a hashtag OTS, and I'd love to see that. I'd love to see a ton of hashtag OTSs. Because this is the foundation of scale. This is one of the ways that David Mills has envisioned a framework that we can use that's very, very powerful. And I want you to be able to take advantage of this. And by the way, look, even if you're not into Amazon, please look at these Amazon OTSs. In the first place, in many cases, we're using technology that is just absolutely viable and powerful when it comes to your client SEO and your affiliate SEO. For example, right here in the Elite Serum OTS, you're going to see me and Joe use the local lead explosion plus a retargeting cocktail to create, to kind of self-generate leads. And so that's, there's just those direct examples in there, but also just the power. I mean, just the power of this over-the-shoulder training. It's so powerful, and it just literally just doesn't exist anywhere else. What you wind up with anywhere else, these guys that are out there. I mean, just the bottom line is, they're about their affiliates. That's what they care about. And, I mean, and actually even that's kind of questionable. What's going on is you're getting this kind of sanitized theoretical training, and, that can be okay to provide you with a bit of an outline or to get the ball rolling. I'm not against that, but, what you really need is a clear framework for how to be successful. What we do is we teach from what we do, okay? Not what we think you want to hear, okay? Actually, that's another thing. Give me a hashtag, what we do, because that's the foundation. I mean, do you want to see, do you want to hear from Michael Bittler about what Michael Bittler thinks that you want to hear? Do you want to hear that from Jack? Do you want to hear from Liz? Hey, Liz, what do you think I want to hear? Or do you want what they do? I mean, and that's really the fundamental question here. And really just stop and ask yourself here, what we do, because I think that's the question. Like, that's what it boils down to when it comes to these over-the-shoulder series, what we do. Now, we're going to get to Michael Bittler in just a second here, but what I want to do is I want to ask Liz, and then we've got some incredible stuff to come from Jack. Liz, I want to talk to you about this emotional detachment, okay, from these products, and how you can wind up chasing a loser, because in your days before your past business life, your past career. Wow, by the way, this what we do thing obviously really touched the core often people, and I'm really, really glad to see that. I think that kind of makes sense to people. Liz, what you did before this was you were one of the greatest poker players in the world. You're $1 million poker player year after year after year. And a big part of success, there's actually a book that we can look up. It's called The Mental Game of Poker. And you know what, guys and gals, I actually want to literally recommend The Mental Game of Poker to you, weirdly enough. Anyone who's like really interested in actually both in Amazon and affiliate marketing and SEO client consulting. Liz, I actually think that this would literally be a good read for internet marketers, because what this book is about, this is by a sports psychologist. It's a friend of yours, somebody who you have a professional relationship with, somebody who helped you and helped you avoid these mental mistakes. And one of the biggest mental mistakes in Amazon is chasing a bad product.
Right, absolutely. And if people actually are interested, I could probably get Jared on a webinar to talk about how his book relates to like business in general, because this book is valid for just about anything in your life if you really actually look at it. It's a pretty amazing book, and I would actually say that before, and this is kind of an interesting story. Before I actually met Jared and worked with him, I was just probably an average poker player. In fact, I think Michael Bittler can vouch for this. Even Mike Long can vouch for this. I have the worst memory in terms of like links. Like if you send me a link, I'll forget about it. If I need to download something that you sent me, I'll forget that you sent it to me. Things like that. I can't even add that well. I'm dyslexic. All sorts of things that I've got wrong with me. And after I kind of applied his actual strategies to my life, I went from six-figure a year earner to seven-figure. So it was just unbelievable.
And the difference that it made, this is what's fascinating. And guys, I've read this book, and I literally recommend it. And I'm going to ask us to do a massive hashtag Jared, because I would literally love for this guy to come on an acceleration webinar with Liz. So I want us to get together as a team and try to bribe him. Let's give Liz some ammunition so she can show him that the OMGers would absolutely love to meet him and roll out the red carpet. So Liz, the specific issue that you're running into, and if we look at this, I'm going to kind of zoom in on this cover right here. What this is talking about is kind of the different kinds. This is one of the skills that Jared has, is breaking down the idea of tilt. And so the idea of tilt or tilting in poker is where we start making bad decisions. Sorry, we're getting a little bit of feedback from somewhere. Let me try to figure out where that is, where that's coming from. Oh, it may have gone away. All right, well, maybe. All right, so tilt in poker is when you start making literally illogical decisions where you know the correct math, you know the value of your hand, and instead of playing your hand, you either overbet your hand or underbet your hand. So your hand is such and such likely to be the best hand, 85% likely to be the best hand, and you bet it as if it's 100% the best hand, or you bet it as if it's 50% of the best hand. And he actually puts out, I don't know how well people can see it, but these are some of the reasons for tilt: entitlement, a feeling of injustice, feeling lazy, feeling averse to risk, losing motivation, lacking confidence, running bad, feelings of revenge, losing focus. And for you, Liz, you actually would literally tilt more than the average top player before you got this training.
Right. It's actually pretty interesting, but I would have like I would always have coaches, because I feel like that's really important. If we can take it from anybody, we can take it from, and people might find this hilarious, but I'm actually the biggest Duke Blue Devil fan that there is, like, probably in the world. So it's pretty hard for me to recommend Michael Jordan, because he was a Tar Heel, obviously, but Michael Jordan had a coach from the moment he, started playing basketball all the way to when he was at his greatest point. He always had a coach. So I've always believed in having coaches. And I had a poker coach at the time, which would tell me it was pretty normal to tilt, because I would always want to talk about tilt, and he said, "Oh, that's common," or whatever. So there would be days where I'd be up several thousands of dollars in a day, and then I would tilt it all off just in an hour. And so it's sort of like the same as it's like emotional detachment, like just knowing when you're running bad or when a situation is just not bad, and then just being able to walk away from it. That's like one of the hardest skills to actually learn. But that's sort of what like Jared did for me. And after I had Jared as my coach, I didn't need any other poker coaches, because I realized everything was all mindset. And like I told everybody, I was not the best at math. I was not the best at memorization. I was not the best at really anything. But when I got behind the psychology of poker, just like the psychology of selling and the psychology of running a business, there's nothing that can stop you. So it doesn't matter where you come from or what your background is, you will dominate as long as you sort of like almost build that confidence up to believe in yourself.
Yeah, I'm trying to actually get to I'm actually opening up my version of this book right now, because there's something I read, and I'd like to like read it actually word for word to people. Let me see.
Yeah, and probably the most important bit that I learned from him, which can definitely apply to anybody's Amazon business, I'm sure Jack or Michael have some form of it, as well as I would imagine all the top people would, is having a journal. And I used to just make so much fun of, like I told Jared, I'm not going to write in a journal. And when I finally like had hit like one of the top levels at poker, and did not have a journal, I sort of, it just hit me why I should have had a journal. So it's no different in your Amazon business. You should be writing out why, what things you test, what the results are of the tests, why you did what you did, anything like that in your journal, and it just becomes like this blueprint for how you hit success, the level of success that you wanted. Because without that, you really don't know what you did, like to your listing, or you don't know what you changed or anything. But by having that all like documented, it's just, it's, you have the blueprint for success right in front of your face. You just have to sort of like sort through it and figure out, okay, that's what I did here. This is what happened as a result of that, and such and such.
Yeah, there's and I'm not able to quickly find it. Again, it's like a whole book, but that is the exact story from the book that really amazed me, was how you would journal down the different kinds of tilts, the different triggers that you would had that would lead you, or signs that you might be running bad, or signs that you might be feeling risk averse, triggers, certain kinds of hands that would come up, or certain situations, or even certain thoughts that would run through your head that would lead you to one of these pitfalls and one of these danger points. And we're potentially placing very big bets when it comes to sourcing product, spending advertising dollars, and so forth. And so if we can cut down on those kinds of issues, it can really matter.
Right. It's sort of similar to like when you're about to do a deal, but something just doesn't feel right about the supplier. Like they did something that was sort of suspicious. Like that's a little bit, I would probably continue to look, even though you sort of have all this time invested in it, and you feel like, no, I got to go with this guy because I want that product up now. I've been waiting too long, and all my friends are in the game. They're all making, this money, and I'm the only one that doesn't have a product. Like sometimes things just don't feel right about a particular product or something, and you sort of just almost have to like feel your gut and be able to realize there's something not wrong. There's some sort of trigger that sets that off.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, it could be them
just go with it.
being perennially late to meetings. Michael Bittler talked about this in the interview that we did to kick off his Over the Shoulder series. When there were vendors that were seemingly great and they were promising them the sun, the moon, the stars, but they would miss regular meetings. Or when one of the things that Michael, I remember one of the things he's saying is there were suppliers who would contact you morning and night as opposed to just one or the other. And if you could only have contact with them once a day, it was literally so much worse than if you could talk to them twice a day. Are you there, Mike?
Yeah, yeah, and absolutely. With vendors that are more responsive, that are more receptive, that are willing to work the same type of hours that I do. So if they're willing to work late into the night, that's actually my morning. Is a lot more convenient and is a better partner than somebody who's only willing to work in my evening. They're also willing to work their evening, which is my daytime hour.
And you literally, you did exactly what Liz said. You folded on a potential supplier, and that's actually what led to the entire hydrofeed situation, and that changed your life. They were putting contracts in front of you. Oh, you can do this, you can't do that, and you're like, you know what? This doesn't feel right. I fold, and instead you just came out with your own competitive brand, and look where it took you.
Oh, well, absolutely. And that's a big part of the mindset of developing that confidence and understanding the psychology of how you think and how you act, and when you're willing to make a deal and when you're willing to walk away from it. And sometimes walking away from it, there's another hand. There's going to be another set of cards played, and you never have that fear of loss of walking away from a deal when there's something else you can do that's going to do better for you. So yeah, it all comes down to the psychology.
Jack, you have a rich background. I'm not going to get into it on your behalf, but one of the things that you've done is design certain high level training that'd be like literally critical to how do I put this? You just designed training that was really important for even for people's safety. I'll put it that way. And again, like so much of this was about your disciplined approach to things. When you hear Liz and Michael talk about kind of sidestepping these mental errors and not gambling in certain ways that they shouldn't, does anything happen to come to mind for you? Again, I don't want to put you on the spot, but I feel like with your background, you might be able to comment on this.
No, absolutely. In some cases, like I don't mind saying it. I did a lot of courses within the military, and plenty of them were definitely potential life and death situations as I
So
was
you
going
actually
through.
designed courses for the military.
Correct.
Okay, great.
I was a master training specialist, and if anybody has any kind of background that you know that it goes through a lot of the curriculum development side, and um, it just so happened that with that knowledge, I was also in the middle of some revamps of courses that had been they were pretty much antique, and they didn't necessarily apply to some of the new threats that we were facing. So I went in and revamped those courses based on not just experience, but also an understanding of pretty much the different types of learners that there are. And it was a very in-depth process of getting that master training specialist certification. And you definitely needed to understand the way that a person learns. And people learn in different ways in a lot of cases. And kind of going back to the Over the Shoulder series, it kind of hits on all of the areas that someone learns. It's visual, it's concrete. There's concrete results that you're showing pretty much in all of the and with all of the earnings reports and everything that you're showing, people can see that this is something that is actually working for these people. So it feeds the visual, it feeds the concrete type learners, it feeds the people that learn in a bunch of different ways, all in one way. So the over the shoulder series of learning these types of things. But I know, like, kind of going back into the mindset of people of what you were just talking about, you know, what motivates people, what changes their way of thinking with certain things. And if you have, you know, pretty much your life savings invested in one product, then you have more of a probability of marrying yourself or attaching yourself and using emotion to promote that product versus logic. And
Yep. That's absolutely true. I mean, Greg just did. Greg Morrison just last night did an over the shoulder, or not over the shoulder, but a March, April, May mastery. I highly recommend it to everybody. March, April, May mastery SEO series, and it was kind of a part two of the same series. And he was talking about you know anchors and URLs in the first one, and the second one is more focused on PBNs. But one of the things he was pointing out was like checking for site penalties, because before you go in and you get your emotions invested in ranking a website, you got to know whether you're dealing with a penalty or not. And he was showing, you know, case after case after case of how to do that. Now, I don't want to review Greg's training in this video. You can go to the March, April, May Mastery Series to watch that. But it's the same kind of thing, Jack. I mean, if you're chasing after a bad product, a product that just doesn't sell, I mean, what are you going to do? I mean, it just doesn't make sense.
well, there are ways, like with the strategies that specifically that I use and that I know other people within the Amazon community use to rid yourself. I mean, I know one of my clients was in a very competitive niche when she first started, and she started with another model of selling on ASM. I'm sorry, selling on Amazon. Oops. Selling through Amazon via another course. Anyway, yeah, basically the way that I went was going for some less competitive areas, and the way that people do SEO, they look for some of the longer tail variations of keywords. So I started trying to target that listing a little different. But the point was, is initially she was very attached to that product, and she got extremely frustrated because she wasn't making any kind of sales unless she was spending a lot of money. And you know, there are ways to work around that, and there's ways to work around that barrier. But if it was all left up to her at that point, there was a lot of demotivation that was going on, and it would have been a lot easier for her to just throw her hands up and walk away from a huge opportunity, because we have since optimized that listing, and now she's making plenty of sales on that listing in order to rid herself of that inventory and move into something else that I know she'll be less emotionally attached to because of that initial experience that she had. And I explained to her, hey, look, you know, you're emotionally attached to this product, and you want it to work so bad that you're putting those blinders on. You know, you're just focused in on this one thing, and you want it to work so bad that you don't care about anything else. And there's so much more opportunity out there if you were to take those blinders off, like we said in the first lesson.
No, this is really great, and that is again so much of a sign of tilt, and again a lot like poker when you're tilting in poker, when you're chasing a bad hand, or trying to get revenge on another player or whatever, they can just take you for everything, and so one of the things I want to do, I really want to see if we can get Jared. I don't know if Jared's going to jump on with us, Jared Tendler. So let's jump over to OMG, to the OMG thread, and let's get a hashtag Jared. I'm going to do hashtag Jared, and then this is something that that Liz can use to hopefully entice him. Let him know that OMG is a city on a hill, that we'd love to meet him and to meet this coach that really turned things around for Liz. I'll tell you about coaching; it's so powerful. The very first I ever heard of David Mills was a very smart guy who I knew named Brian Boughton. I was playing Magic the Gathering, and I was kind of a top player in my area. And Brian approached me. He's like, "Hey, man, he was another pretty good player, and he's like, we need to. There's this guy named David Mills, and we should try to hire him as a coach for us." And I was like, I was offended. I was like, "Man, you're crazy. Like, why would I need a coach? Certainly, like, and who is this David Mills? There's just no way. That's just crazy talk." But anyways, it turned out that he was pretty right. So thanks to Brian Boughton for that, and I get coaching from David every day, and I'm very, very grateful for it. So if we can get such a highly somebody who Liz respects so highly to come out and coach us up at least for a session and give us some ideas behind not just sports psychology but business psychology, well, that would be just literally valuable. Let's see how many hashtag Jareds we have. We have like 5 hashtag Jareds here, guys. You really think this guy's going to come out for 5 hashtag Jareds? I mean, I can't quite add the way that Liz can, but I feel like we can get more hashtag Jareds than that.
I gotta say,
let's get it out there.
I can tell y'all, he totally changed my life. He's such a great guy. I think everybody would enjoy him, and he actually used to be a golf coach, so he's worked with some of the best, not only golfers in the world, but absolutely the best poker players in the world. So he's a very huge authority in the poker niche, but it can apply to just about anything, and he's an amazing guy, and I'm pretty sure you would get at least one good nugget from him that would more than likely change your life, just the way he changed like my life.
Well, that's a pretty powerful testimonial, folks. If that's not enough to motivate you, we now have 7. We have 7 hashtag Jareds. 7 hashtag. I can't believe it. I don't think I can really. I don't think that this trick really works when people can actually see that there's like 100 of them. But anyways, I feel like if you're still on the fence about giving us a hashtag Jared, just jump out and give us a hashtag Jared. I mean, really. Let's do a quick while everyone's typing in. Oh, that's great. By the way, Bruce just bought the book. Yeah, actually, why don't you vote with your wallet? How many people are buying the book? I bought the book. Okay, I bought the book. How many people are going to buy the book? It's $9.99. I think that I mean, don't you think that Jared would feel like a little bit more excited if somebody had actually bought his book? Larry bought his book.
Yeah, and one other thing I just wanted to point out one other thing about Jared that's pretty darn amazing, because I've heard all these other motivational guys that speak. I've heard them at other big events, even Amazon selling events. I've heard them all speak, and every single one of them just talks about theory. They never talk about like action and what you have to do to change your mindset and sort of shift it. And Jared is the complete opposite. He'll show you exactly what you have to do in order to shift your mindset, like what action steps you have to take. So he's not just talking about BS theory. He's actually talking about actionable steps, and it's sort of like the same thing that we're doing in these over-the-shoulder series. It's almost like an over-the-shoulder to change your mindset. So it's absolutely pretty incredible. And like I said, he's the #1 guy that completely changed my life. He made me realize how to go from being just a 6-figure earner all the way to 7 figures. And like I said, I'm lucky I can read that well. And I absolutely just got into people's heads and crushed them. And I'm talking about Ivy League graduates and top players. There's some guys that are on TV and all that. I would just crush them because of good old Jared. So that's all I got to say about that. He will definitely change your life.
I gotta tell you, it's like the way Liz is describing herself. She's like, I have an IQ of 2, and I don't speak English, and I everyone's
It's
like,
actually my second language. English was my second language, so that's
is it
another
really your
interesting
second
thing.
language?
Yeah, it was definitely.
You speak very well. No, but in all seriousness, I kind of want to point out that this is one of the things I love about OMG. I mean, OMG really is a city on a hill. I mean, how do you think that this guy's going to feel? Like, yeah, some rah kick him in the knee stuff. Hashtag Jared. That's one thing. But if he knows that, hey, I mean, this is like almost like a book signing for him now. Instead, now we've got like 3 people that have bought his book. I mean, 3 whole people. That's incredible. 3. It's come on, people. Let's buy some of his books. Let's shoot him up the bestseller rankings, and leave a review too, guys. Like, let's get him some good verified review. No, I really appreciate it. We've had a lot of people jump in and buy the book, and I did it right away. Like, once I heard Liz talk about her story and her background, I think it was the first day that I got back from Vegas, and I bought the book, and I think that's really inspiring. I want to do some station identification here. We'll jump back into this just for a second. You're on OMG. I just got a text message from Cotton the Hammer Grammer, and he said that there's a new post.